in the fucking comments, it goes between
Hello,
comedy and tragedy.
hello,
Hey,
hello.
Armin.
Hey, hello, hello.
Hi, Armin.
Hi. Sorry, I'm
Armin,
late.
I
Sorry,
was
I'm late.
wrong.
Oh no.
No, I was wrong about the boom booms last night. That's all I was saying. How me-
Yeah,
they, but oh well, it was a good type of wrong.
it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I know so many people are disappointed. Who's disappointed today? Who's disappointed that we're not going to get boom booms tonight? Oh, okay.
A little bit.
Yeah, it's okay. No, okay, okay. Well, let's actually talk about it. That's the first thing.
That's the
Well,
plan.
yeah. So, who's modding?
I'm modding, and by the way, I have 7 ones in the chat so far.
Holy crap! Okay, so maybe I should not talk then. Maybe I'll just read the. Maybe we should just read what President Trump posted, and then we could get to that. But do you want to, Danny? Do you want to basically explain to everybody how things work around here before we start?
Oh, of course. So if you wish to speak, we have a side chat, and please indicate to me that you want to speak by putting either 1 in the chat with your topic to speak on a new topic, or a 2 in the chat to respond to the current topic being discussed, hopefully briefly. And otherwise, when you're not speaking, please keep your microphone off to minimize background noise. And also keep in mind that this call is recorded, as well as the side chat. So please don't put on anything that you don't want to see on the internet. All right, yeah, that's it.
Okay, so before I read the latest post by President Trump, let's look at the one before it that made a lot of people have the expectations that tonight we're going to have like massive military operations. So this was the original post. President Trump posted this saying the United States will be hitting Iran, whose Navy, Air Force, radar, anti-aircraft, and all other forms of defense, together with most of its offensive capability, are gone very hard tonight. At some point in the not so distant future, we will be taking Harg Island and other oil infrastructure points and assume total control of their oil and gas markets, much like we have with Venezuela, which is working out brilliantly for both Venezuela and United States of America. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. And then, so a lot of people thought like we're gonna boom booms tonight, but then just very, I mean, when was this? Just 2 hours ago, President Trump posted this. Based on the fact that discussions with the Islamic Republic of Iran have been brought to the highest level of Iranian leadership and approved, I have, as President of the United States of America, canceled the scheduled strikes and bombings against Iran this evening. Discussions and final points have been, in both concept and great detail, approved by all parties involved, including the United States, Israel, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, Turkey, Pakistan, Bahrain, Kuwait, Jordan, Egypt, and others. The naval blockade will remain in full force and effect until the transaction is finalized. Time and place of the signing to be announced shortly. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America. All right, so I'm assuming most of the ones that people have put in the chat is about this. Is my assumption correct? Because I think we should mostly focus on this.
I think 4 of them are about this.
Is the first one about this?
No.
Okay, can we do the ones that are about this, and then we go to the ones that are not about this? Is that okay, guys?
And actually, 2 people want to respond, so let me quickly go to them. Noah?
Yeah, I do feel a little bit disappointed. I'm not entirely mad at President Trump this time, but I do think that the Islamic Republic is just buying time at this point again, as they always have. And I feel like they're doing this again. So I think they're going to put out the same peace proposals that they have, which are not going to suffice to the United States, and we'll be back to square one within a few days. but that's just my 2 cents. So we'll see what happens in the coming days, but um, he might not be happy with progress, and we'll go back to boom booms. And yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. And Sketch?
Yes, we made a deal with Japan. What, are we not going to make a deal and just nuke them out of existence? We made a deal with Germany. What are we going to do? Keep bombing them until Germans don't exist? People have this cognitive dissonance where they think you can't have a deal that's a surrender deal. It's like, oh no, there's a deal. That means everything goes back to the way it was before the war. Just because you hear the word deal, please don't have a stroke. Don't go into some kind of cognitive dissonant, TDS, spasm, and forget that you can have a deal that's a surrender deal. We did this with Japan. We did this with Germany. We have done this many times. Wars end through deals, even when there's a clear victory. Unless you're going to genocide everyone, unless you're going to have boots on the ground and hunt down in every hole everyone that's there, and this is something we don't want to do, you have to have a deal. A surrender deal is what we're looking for. You can't let because this is the thing. We're going into the terms of the left. The left says bombing is wrong, and then when we don't bomb, they say Trump always chickens out. Taco Trump, right? So they have this thing like, well, no matter what you do, it's wrong. So you're letting them define the terms of what a deal means. A surrender deal is still a deal. We had a deal with Japan, so we would stop nuking them. If we didn't make a deal with Japan, it would still be glowing in the dark. We had a deal with Germany. If we didn't do that, there would be no Germany. You have to make a deal at some point. So stop going crazy when you hear the word deal. I think we have to repeat and repeat. Hey, would you want Japan to still glow? Or are you okay with surrender deals? Can you accept surrender deals, or should we still be nuking Japan? I just want to put that out there.
Thank you for putting it out there. And one more response from Armin.
I'm just going to read the people who disagree with these takes so that more of you could respond to it. Some people, like, there are people who agree to this. I'm just going to focus on the disagree ones so that we could hear more responses, right? So Brenda, I think, is saying, come on, stop being nice to Trump. He has betrayed you. I am sick of Persian dissidents lionizing Trump. He is a con man and will do a surrender deal with the regime and leave you subjugated. And then somebody else is saying, do you all comprehend the Truth Social post? The Islamic Republic has agreed to a deal. And then Fine Stars is saying, Sketch, you're the one suffering from cognitive dissonance. Perhaps we are feeling that way because we know the Islamic Republic better than you. They would never agree to a surrender deal. And somebody else is saying, Aryan is saying, except that the IRGC doesn't surrender. And that Brenda person is also saying, this channel has been naive for months, swallowing every pro-MAGA nonsense, pretending Trump will help you. Wake up. I mean, I'm reading your comments. So
can I reply to the one about me?
Reply to all of them, actually, if you can.
Okay, I didn't say the deal had to be with IRGC. The president could just betray all of the IRGC and leave. You know, if a dog decided to start talking and says, yeah, I'm going to represent the government. We're taking the IRGC. We're making them a non-power. Make the deal with me. I'll take a deal with anyone in the government that renounces the IRGC's power. I'm not married to the IRGC. I'm okay with completely destroying the IRGC. I'm just saying at some point you have to set some terms where you're going to go in, you're going to do the things you do. Someone in there, maybe someone that becomes disloyal, maybe someone threatened by the IRGC, maybe someone who's betraying the IRGC. I don't care who it is, right? Maybe you're making the surrender deal with all the surrounding powers and someone from the outside that accepts the deal in their terms, some government in exile. I don't care who it is. You have to make a framework for ending hostilities and start, taking power away directly, putting someone else in the position of recognized leader, right? And taking out the person that don't accept whatever deal is set forward. This was done in Libya. This was done in Syria. If I'm not mistaken, like the Syrian government was just not recognized. Another government was recognized. I don't know how that went. Might have not gone, great at first, but it's a lot more calm now than it was during the whole Civil War period, right? So these things happen. They do happen. You can't be so TDS minded that you are forgetting where we are. We are in the channel where I myself, Armin, has told you the IRGC is not going to accept the deal. That's the good thing. If you go for a surrendering deal, right, that means that the government is giving up, or someone in the government is basically authorizing. We need someone in the government to authorize us to come in. That may not be the IRGC. That may be someone claiming to be the IRGC. Whoever signs the deal is giving us a paper that says, "Hey, come in." That's all I want. And we're basically, I don't want to make I don't want to make us look bad, right? But it's like a vampire. I'm not coming in until you say come in. But once we get anybody to say come in, hey, thank you. Now let me, take these bloodsuckers and do to them what they did to Iran.
Sketch, do you think?
I-
Really quickly, Sketch, do you think it's fair to dismiss anybody who thinks this way as TDS? Because some of these people, like celebrated Trump when he did so many other things, right? And they just don't like what he. Yeah, let me just finish. Like they just don't like what he's doing right now. But I don't like some of them don't really have TDS because they weren't always like consistently anti-Trump, like they just don't like what he's doing now. So I'm not saying they're right. I mean, maybe they're wrong and you're right, but is it fair to just dismiss all of it as TDS?
There are exceptions to the rule. I will admit there are exceptions to the rules, but the exceptions don't make the rule. If 90% of them are people who have TDS and always hated whatever Trump does, and a couple of people who used to like him, kind of echoing that sentiment. Hey,
but we don't have the data. But we don't have the data on how many percentage is TDS and how much is not. Like we don't have the data for that.
Exactly my point. So, like, just as valid as it is to say they're not all of them, it is as valid to say a lot of them are.
Some of them, we don't know. Yeah, but
some of them, yeah. Hey,
okay. All right. I saw. So, sorry, Danny. Go on. There's more twos in the chat.
Next person, Ida.
Hey, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Hey, so yeah, I put the two before Sketch explained himself. So yeah, doing deals with Germany and the West and Japan, whatever, is different from doing deals with people from the Middle East who are like IRGC or basically very bad guys. So, but then he addressed the issue of, I think a lot of people though do think that when he speaks about, when Trump speaks about doing a deal, he talks about this regime. I'm just from hearing what people around say. And the fear is that the regime is going to stay and is going to make some kind of a deal with them, because we all want to see the regime fall, right? Because the deal we want to see is like maybe he's making a deal with somebody who's really on our side. So that's he basically sketched and provided more clear picture of what he would want the deal to look like. So I have nothing more to say.
Thank you, Ida.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
Yeah, so I'm going to expand on what Sketch said. No one's saying that, no one's dismissing the fact that members of the broader Iranian diaspora are, again, under a very high cognitive and emotional load. And no one's dismissing the fact that members of the Iranian diaspora, like the anti-mullah Iranian diaspora, have a unique stake and or emotional investment in this because their family's there. I think what Sketch is saying is you can tell by the context of how the criticism is floated. I mean, there's a reason I said what I said the other day. Well, when is the time where we can like co-opt this to push for never? It's never that time. But I'm going to say this to you, to whoever said that. President Trump betrayed the Iranian people? Who killed Khomeini again? You have 21,000 targets in the first set of strikes that were obliterated. So, probably a bit strong, definitely not accurate. Understandable, though, right? Because of the emotional investment and connection. I'm just saying that there's a difference between providing constructive criticism in support of the office of the president and, like some, including some that come to these groups, that very much seem like they wait for any slip up so that can serve as a backdrop for their partisan whatever. Right? There's a difference between those two things. There's a reason I supported the office of the president under Biden when it came to pushing back against Putin's criminalized counterintelligence state's illegal war of aggression in Ukraine. And that's after Biden's fucking crackhead son stole my work regarding Ukraine, which I don't even care. He just fucked it up. That's what I cared about. There are other things going on, right? Putin just forward-based more troops in Europe. We are responding. You know, there's so much stuff going on. It's very, while I'm not dismissing the way they feel, because it's legitimate, under, like, they being members of the broader anti-mullah Iranian diaspora, right? They have a very high cognitive emotional load. They're personally invested. Their families are suffering. The mullahs are ruthless and they're unique. There's no doubt about it. That being said, it gets also in some cases equally tiring for those that are supporting you, that are in the administration, having to, constantly fight off all these never Trumper douchebags who have been either tripping up our efforts, actively supporting the mullah regime. It isn't us. It isn't MAGA that supports the mullahs. We openly love Iranian resistance. The Constitutional Coalition, right? Nancy Orticelli and all those guys openly love Goldie Gamari. They love her. Like, Secretary of State Rubio made it a point to differentiate between the regime that illegally occupies Iran and the Iranian people. I mean, that's not the same as never Trumpers who are like, oh my God, you're not bombing. We're going to yell at you about that. Oh, you're bombing. Now we're going to yell at you about that. Nobody wants to hear that shit. They're not your friends. Leftists are not your fucking friends. They openly support this regime. The regime openly stated it views the global left as their fucking ally. The regime and its proxies are very much the contemporary representation, the Red-Green Alliance, of the Red-Black Alliance that took down the noble house of Pahlavi. So I'm not saying that MAGA isn't here listening to you or won't hug you, because we are and we do. I'm just saying, don't listen to the never Trumpers spewing all kinds of shit. Just like, well, what about the oil? Yeah, because we're fucking secretly moving oil out. Take a guess who played a role in writing some of that. Couldn't say anything. There's a lot of things going on behind the scenes.
Okay, thank you. Armin is next.
I'm just gonna respond to some. Just read the super chats and respond to them. But firstly, Fleshy Interloper, thank you so much for the super chat, saying, I will stay confused and wait and see. Yeah, Fleshy Interloper is very, you have always been very transparent about this being all confusing. And I honestly think that's one of the most honest takes. I think there are a lot of people who say this is happening or that is happening. Not enough people admit that this is confusing. And the fact that you are admitting that makes you braver than most people. Like, most people would like to basically say that I know what's happening, right? And a lot of times we just don't know, right? I would say that if it's confusing, the benefit of that is that it's also confusing to the Islamic Republic, right? If we knew what President Trump is doing, then the Islamic Republic would know as well, and that's not good, right? So that the confusing element of it is an advantage in some areas, right? To some extent. And then we got another super chat. I think this super chat is against me, saying Trump won't arm the Iranians. He's always dodging the question, and you and Goldie are only shrugging your shoulders to Marco Rubio saying they don't have any programs to arm Iranians. I mean, it's interesting that you're saying I'm shrugging my shoulders because I have started the most successful campaign on this very matter. Like if I knew that there was already a plan, then what would be the point of the Arm Us campaign that I've started, which now everybody is talking about, and is getting basically to the most important people on this matter. They're now using it as a way to get more buy-ins to normalizing the idea that we should be arming the Iranian people. Like I have, among all people, accusing me of just shrugging our shoulders. Like like the Arm Us campaign is that I started is the number one, like is the most successful project to try to push for this to try to make an attempt for policies regarding exactly this to actually happen. And given the success of it, I don't know why you were accusing me of shrugging my shoulders. And Goldie has been, like you mentioned, Goldie has been supportive of the campaign as well. So in fact, Goldie has given me a lot of advice on what to do with the videos and how to make them go more viral, and she's been sharing it. What's that? Okay, so you're saying, Army, you didn't have any criticism of Marco Rubio and Trump on this matter. Well, Marco Rubio said that he's not aware of anybody of United States doing this, being, having any plans to arm the Iranian people, right? But when it comes to President Trump, we know that we did have criticism over the fact that they tried to use the Kurdish separatist groups. I remember specifically criticizing. I appreciated the fact that they were trying to arm the Iranian people, so I appreciated that. But I also had criticism regarding the method that they chose. I remember specifically criticizing him on that. With Marco Rubio, he said he's not aware of the plan. I don't know if he would be the person in charge of that. So if there's a plan to arm the Iranian people, would Marco be the person involved in that? And if there is a plan, wouldn't that be something that they wouldn't want to share with Marco? I mean, I don't know. Maybe he deserves criticism, but I don't know if he does, because I think that this is a very because they know he's going to be questioned about this, right? And he shouldn't be lying. They don't want him to lie. So maybe they on purpose didn't share that information with him so that he doesn't have to lie about it. I mean, he's not going to be in charge of that operation. So why should he be? If that plan is in place, why should that be shared? Why should they share that with him? But to be fair, if there is no plan right now to arm the Iranian people, if I knew that there's no plan right now, I would be criticizing that. I'm not defending the position the United States has right now because I don't know the position. If I knew that they have a plan right now, I would be like, oh my God, great. I don't even need my campaign anymore. I could stop that. There's a plan. And if I knew that there is no plan, then obviously I would criticize it. I would like, this is the best thing to do. So I would be criticizing why they're not doing that. But I can't criticize something that I'm not aware of. I don't know if there is a plan right now there or not. But because I don't know, at least I started a campaign to try to push for it in case that plan is not there, to at least normalize it and have more people discuss it. So we do have more super chats. I'll get to the super chats too, but because I've been speaking a lot, let's get to more people. Like, do we have, Danny, do we have more twos?
We have so many more twos. Okay, Sapir is next.
I'm honestly, I'm sorry. You can skip me.
Okay, I understand.
Who's there? Who?
Raham.
All right. I can't.
Uh,
Your audio is like so low. Yep.
No.
Nope. Not at all. All right. Let's go to the next person.
Yeah, try to fix it and we'll circle back to you. Okay, Sketch.
Yes. What I was going to say is like people can talk about me, about my stance, but they are forgetting that for over a month, I have said very clearly that we are trying to talk about a government in exile. Very clearly, for over a month, I have said, hey, we need to find a way to declare other people in charge. Very clearly, I have said, well, would you accept a deal where the president says, get me out of here, move me to France? These people have a fake Ayatollah. That's not a grand Ayatollah by their constitution. Here's the paperwork. That's not a real Ayatollah. That's not a real power. This is a fake government. This is an unconstitutional government. Just get me out of here. And he could betray everyone and just get out. Like, would you accept that deal? Well, some people who are not thinking logically, they're thinking emotionally, like to forget what has been discussed here and try to act like I'm always defending Trump. That is another lie, an outright lie, and a personal attack because they are upset about this deal talk. Anyone that's been here for long knows that I am furious at Trump about his home policy, about why he's not going after these judges, these mayors, these governors, right? I am no Trump worshiper. I just understand a little bit about war. And if you're going to have operations going in, you need someone to kind of accept it, have a legal framework to go in, number one. Number two, once you do that, if you are going to get anything in there, you can treat anyone that attacks you as an insurgent, not part of a legitimate government. That's what I'm talking about here, a legal framework that you can sign on to so that you can go and do the things you have to do. I didn't say IRGC. I never said that. People are putting words in my mouth. They're speaking about me like they're not, you just must not come here often or not be a regular listener, because I have been saying these things for over a month. I've been talking, Jeff knows, Jeff, I've talked to you about this, right? About government in exile. How do we get other people in power? How do we release the funds to other people? This has been a long going discussion. Anybody that thinks a deal is with the IRGC has ignored me saying over and over, of course, the deal is not with the IRGC. They can't accept it. Armin has also said, oh, the Iranians are worshiping Trump. Armin and Goldie have been saying for far longer than me, the IRGC is not going to accept that kind of deal. So it would have to be someone else in the government. This is just ignoring the facts of what has been discussed here and having an emotional reaction to today's news.
All right. Thank you. And let's go on to Jeffrey.
Yeah, so I mean, I can validate what both Armin and Sketches said. I mean, I'm one of the guys who kind of helped write the strategy about arming Iranians. I'm not the only one. I'm one of them. I remember talking to Armin and Goldie and Tusi about that 6 months ago. I remember that. So yeah, Armin has very much been pushing for and involved in trying to arm Iranian resistance. There's just ways you got to go about doing it for both operational and legal reasons. It's not like, and I know how that might seem with all the stupid news, right? Like, oh, they're hiding in the process. I promise you, it's not hiding in the process. Right? There are like legit things you have to do both legally and or operationally to make sure that that has the maximum chance of success, with success defined as as enabling Iranian resistance and minimizing potential blowback to Iranian resistance. Like, that's a big deal. There's a reason Armin had warned about using Kurdish separatists, right? Even like, okay, me and Armin may differ on some of the specifics. Like, he would like to create a green zone in theater. I'm more train them outside. The point, though, is Armin's been actively involved in trying to not only level, provide asymmetric, advantages to the Iranian resistance for as long as I've been around here. I still have those emails. And Sketch is right when he says there are certain legal requirements that have to be met. So, like, there's a reason I and others pushed to have His Highness Prince Reza Pahlavi and the transitionary government recognized as the official government in exile, because that opens up a lot of legal gates that have to be open for you to be able to legally send, receive, store, use lethal support, right? You can't just, I know people are like, I don't care about the law, I'm just going to drop guns in, kids are getting killed. I totally fucking get that. We looked at and we still do look at any number of ways to counter those ruthless motherfuckers and the shit they're doing. It's not a magic wand. Like I had Jose had to teach me about the ceasefire that was put on True Social an hour and a half ago. I didn't know. I mean, I can only juggle so many chainsaws. So, I would just hope that people would understand that this administration is not your enemy. Clearly, they have a deep love for you. Clearly, there are many. It's not even just the IRGC we're fighting. We're fighting Putin's criminalized counterintelligence state, the Chinese Communist Party, elements out of Pakistan. There are another bunch of motherfuckers, right? You got the North Korean regime that's the largest proliferator, elements in NATO that fucked us in the opening stages of Operation Epic Fury and denying us airspace, right? We had to restock all of our stuff because our carriers had to pick up the slack. And they went like max sortie, which is, I mean, they were really putting the fucking hurt on. Like 270 sorties a day is not a light thing, even for our largest carriers. After 5 days, they're cooked. They have their bingo gas, bingo like munitions. They had to get restocked. We just, we launched 870 plus Tomahawk cruise missiles in like a couple of hours. That's 27% of our global stocks. They had to go get reloaded. Right? I mean, I know that people are like, I don't get it. America's like a hyperpower. Yes, we are the strongest country in the world. Tragically, a lot of the elements that I bitch about here, leftists, Democrats, Ron bots, had spent 20 years cannibalizing, 30 years, cannibalizing our national defense industrial base. Former President Bush tried to rebuild it. He had to sit there and fight the war on terror. That pushed things to a different, the resources to fighting a asymmetric extra state security concern. In other words, U.S. versus sub-state actors. And that requires different investments than fighting against a state actor. Actually, W was looking to kill the Mullah regime in 2005. It was fucking Democrats and to a lesser degree Ron bots, that piece of shit, that undermined our ability to do so. Obama gutted our shit, gutted our national defense industrial base, gutted it. He said it clearly. And look, I mean, I'm not an anti, it's not like I hated everything Obama did, even though I hate the person. I actually agreed with Obama's drone strikes. I just don't think he did it enough. This is real talk. It's not red tie, blue tie. I'm just going to reiterate, and I'll close with this. No one that I know in the administration or in this room is unaware and deeply appreciative of the horrific cognitive and emotional load that the anti-Mullah Iranian diaspora is under, even though we can't personally understand because we're not Iranian. Well, Armin can, he is Iranian, of Iranian descent. I'm just saying there are many different lines of effort being pursued, and not all of them are in public because, you have to keep certain things on the down low.
All right. And let's try Ram again, and let's move on.
That better?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, same settings as before. Yeah, so the one thing I just want to add, I am Iranian. And what we, as a whole, everybody who's critical of Trump needs to understand is he's done more for us than anybody, perhaps other than Bibi, that's ever done for Iranians as a whole in the past 47 years. So even if he stops today, he's still done more than anybody else has ever done. So we should be thankful, first off. Second off, his commitment is not to the Iranian population, it's to the United States residents and population of the United States. So whatever he can do to benefit the US, that's what he's going to choose. So if pushing for a deal is going to be better for them, he's going to do that, because going to open war, one, it's going to risk soldiers and US lives. Also, it'll cost millions of dollars. It's not free to drop bombs. And also, it's going to kill a lot more Iranians potentially, or at least harm them. He said it today, like in a very empathetic way. He's like, I don't want to destroy their water supplies or hurt them, which is the truth. Like, he just doesn't want to. So if it's not, I mean, I understand people's criticisms, and I have this conversation with my close family members on a daily basis, because one, they don't understand politics to an extent, and two, they just basically go knee-jerk reaction. Oh, he did this, it's wrong. Oh, he did that, it's wrong. It's like, okay, well, you don't understand the next 5 steps that this guy's going to have to take. And honestly, I think his deep plan is just to split the regime so far down the middle that some of them like conduct a coup against the rest, and then they basically just eat each other alive. Because it looks like it's kind of heading that way slowly, and every time he says this stuff, it just pins them against each other. So if you have criticism, cool. Maybe just because you have an opinion, you should not always express it in such a harsh way, because it's probably going to hurt the movement. And also, I've seen people going after Americans, just like Armin said. It's like, don't do that. Like, they're our allies. They're helping. And so if you're going to turn the MAGA movement against us by being disrespectful and rude, then we're kind of screwed. So, just be thankful, have more empathy, because honestly, he's done more for us as a whole than anybody else has. So.
And okay, and one last response from Armin, then we really move on.
Okay, but if we move on, it should be related topics before we go to the other topics. Okay, so first of all, 3 points. First of all, please try to, a lot of these points are not going to be convincing. Okay, on both sides. Many of the people on both sides of this regarding whether President Trump is doing the right thing or wrong thing, no matter how many times we make it, the other side is not going to get convinced. Given that many people are not going to get convinced by either side, what we have to try to push for is to keep our unity, even if we completely disagree with each other. That's point number one. At the end of the day, we are enemies of the Islamic Republic, and all of us, both sides of this argument, want the Islamic Republic to fall. So keep your disagreements, have those disagreements, but let's keep trying to work with each other, even if we get frustrated with each other, even if you think our point is obvious and the other people on the other side are clearly getting it wrong. Let's try to maintain unity when it comes to our fight with the Islamic Republic. That's point number one. To the Iranians who are frustrated with President Trump, I know many Iranians are not frustrated with President Trump. Many Iranians are. I see both of them. Many Iranians are trying to convince the other Iranians that their position is correct about this. Most Iranians I'm seeing are united about the fact that Israel is an ally. On President Trump, there's division. But among the Iranians who are frustrated by this, please understand that even if you are right, turning against President Trump right now and turning against America or America hurts our cause, even if you're right. Okay? I'm not saying don't express your frustration. Come to our communities or our groups or our Discord servers or our discussion group right here and express your frustration as much as you want, but don't publicly come out against United States or Trump. We have many Americans. We have made many American allies, and we don't want to lose that. That is not going to help our cause against the Islamic Republic at all. Two Americans who during this time found out that the Iranians are not like the Islamic Republic and then started supporting Iranians. If you're now disappointed to see some Iranians turning against Trump, if you love Trump, and you're disappointed, like, at first you were very excited to see so many Iranians are all of a sudden coming out and waving the American flag and saying thank you, Trump. And now some of those very same people who you've been following are angry and disappointed. Please understand two things. First of all, not all Iranians are like that. Many Iranians still continue to support President Trump. And please understand, even if the Iranians who are frustrated right now with President Trump, please understand that they're going through hell. We just went through the darkest chapter of our history, and for some reason, because of how things were progressing really fast, many Iranians came to the conclusion that it was really dark, but it's after Khamenei's death, they thought it's over. They thought that Iran is going to be liberated very, very soon. And now they're realizing that they're deeper in that very same hell that they thought that they were almost out of, right? And it's really difficult to explain. I mean, for many people, they're going through an emotional roller coaster, but it's not. But the Iranian people's roller coaster is basically going through hell and back, in a hell that most people around the world cannot imagine, right? There's not a single person in Iran that I know of that doesn't know somebody in their life that was taken by the Islamic Republic in the most brutal way. Okay, and again, this is not something that the Iranian people are used to. These are people who live like very normal lives. Like, this is not something like, oh well, it's in the Middle East, so they're used to it. They were not fucking used to it. This has been extremely traumatic, and the Iranian people are very, very eager to just come out of this nightmare. And it's really, so if you see Iranians with frustration over why we're still in this mess and why the Americans have stopped attacking the Islamic Republic, just please don't abandon us. Like, the bridge that we built between the Iranians and Americans is very precious to us. And I don't want this disappointment over some of these reactions to lead to you guys basically giving up on the bond that we created over the past couple of months. So that's that. And I do have some super chats. Should I read them now, Danny, or should we go to the next person?
Yes, super chats.
Okay. So Mark gave me a super chat saying, Armin Navabi Aziz, you support Zelensky, a tyrant put in power by an American leftist in place regime. Why did Trump throw him out of the White House? And then the super chat continues saying, it was not because he was impolite. It was because the left out him and put him in power, and Zelensky, as horrendous an irony as it is, rules a genocidal. Okay, I don't see the rest of this. There was only two parts. First of all, I support the Ukrainian people, and the Ukrainian people elected Zelensky. He was their choice. Maybe he's not their choice anymore. If there was elections, I don't know. But I support this. I need to look into that. I don't know. I support the Ukrainian people, and as long as the Ukrainian people's decision is Zelensky, I support Zelensky. And as long as the Ukrainian people's choice is not Zelensky, then I just submit to the will of the Ukrainian people. Okay, and I also consider Iran and Ukraine to be very important allies. So for as long as the Ukrainian people support Zelensky, we would do this. We respect their position. And I haven't seen any data that suggests that the election was fake. And I don't know what the poll numbers are right now for Zelensky right now in the Ukraine. So, but yeah, my support is not for Zelensky. My support is for the Ukrainian people. And if he speaks for them, then I support him. If he's their actual representative. Yeah. Okay. So sorry.
We're talking about the Zelensky and Ukrainians that are providing us with cheap anti-drone and anti-air defense expertise.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and I think I have a couple of people that also want to respond to that. So let me go.
Okay, so before, Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so Ali Zomenta. Do we have an Ali? I don't have audio from Ali.
Ali, I saw
Okay.
him here.
Yeah, he put it too. No, he's still here. But his microphone is not turning on. I'm not sure if you're having issues with permissions. See if you can figure out, and maybe I'll circle back to you. Jeffrey.
I'm going to correct some of the misconceptions that were offered, not of you, Armin, around the money. So, no, President Zelensky's not a dictator, and he wasn't installed by U.S. intelligence. What you have is Ukrainians responding to Putin's criminalized counterintelligence states, increasing hybrid and gray zone conflict against former Soviet states in the intermarium, because that KGB shit gurgling asshole thinks they still belong to him. For instance, you have the poisoning of Ukrainian president and opposition candidate Viktor Yushchenko in 2004, where it fucked up his face. That would be Putin involved with that. You have the, you had in response to that, because, Putin was pushing all of his people there, much like how he did before he, weaponized illegal immigration in Donbass and Donetsk and parts of Crimea prior to illegally annexing Crimea in direct violation of the Budapest Memorandum in 1994. The poisoning and all the stupid shit Putin was doing is actually what motivated the color revolutions, not the least of which is the Orange Revolution in Ukraine in 2004. Then you had the Maidan and Euromaidan Revolution, the Revolution of Dignity in 2013 and 14. Then you had Putin's legal annexation of Crimea. I mean, the list goes on and on, right? The violation of the Minsk I and Minsk II Accords. So no, yeah, I mean, Zelensky's not a dictator. I'm not saying there isn't elements around him that are less than desirable. There's corruption there, to be sure. The idea that somehow Zelensky is some shitbag is so off the wall fucking crazy. You have a guy who legitimately was offered a way out when there were, FSB hunter-killer squads hunting him down in Kyiv, and said he would rather die with his fucking people. Yeah, not the act of a dictator. Most of those people, most dictators are cowards. Like the IRGC and Besiege, who hide behind children with their fucking urban shield strategy. Or walking kids with Down syndrome into friggin' landmines. So yeah, not a dictator at all. Not one fucking iota. And indeed, I would contend Ukraine and Zelensky is like legitimately 21st century's version of Western civilization Sparta. And you know what? It's the irony is not lost on me, because in this case, in the war that's going on for our world today, you have both contemporary Ukrainian Spartans. I mean, Greece is also on our side. They've also been really supportive. So you have both the direct descendants of Sparta and the direct representation of a Ukrainian Sparta working with Persians. So yeah, totally not a fuck. I'm sorry, I'm getting pissed off. Look.
Please do.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Woo.
No, please let it go. No, don't stop.
So I'm not getting angry at the person. So there's a lot of disinformation, like the stupid shit about, well, first it was Zelensky was a Nazi. Okay, he's Jewish and his family died in Auschwitz. The fuck? Then it was, well, actually, there was like U.S. bioweapons labs in Ukraine. Nope, those were actually Soviet bioweapons labs that we demilitarized, and that motherfucker, Vladimir Putin, literally violated the Joint Threat Reductions Program and fucked us, right, in 2003. Like all this bullshit. Well, there's actually like the Azov battalion are all Nazis. Nope. That was like maybe 5 to 10% of the Azov battalion, which admittedly, those guys are fucked up. The vast majority of the Azov battalion are just very supportive of not having their people raped and fucking murdered by those KGB pieces of shit. all that disinformation it's the same, and it's the same fuckers. These are the same people pushing crap about brave Iranian resistance. It's the same origin. The very person who pushed that disinformation is the one that gave Kalinkas to those mullah regime bastards so they could hunt down brave Iranians and kill them in their fucking house. Zelensky is not a dictator. If there are certain things that a country adopts when it's under absolute threat of being exterminated, that's not dictatorship. That's just being rational and reasonable. Right? Anyway, I'm not angry at the person who voiced that. I'm just angry at that specific line of disinformation because it shits all over brave members of Ukrainian defense forces that have literally been fighting and sacrificing their lives to save the world from the evil that is Putin's criminalized counterintelligence state. And much like Iranian resistance having to fucking fight every horror under the sun, whether it's Putin, the Chi-Coms, fucking North Koreans, and everybody else, that's exactly what Ukrainians have been dealing with. They are literally one of your strongest allies. It was President Zelensky that recognized His Highness Prince Reza Pahlavi as the official representation of the Iranian people. It's Ukrainian defense forces that are legitimately supporting Iranian resistance right now, even when they're under active threat of being exterminated by those whack job KGB hardliner fucks out of St. Petersburg. So no, not a dictator.
Thank you for that, Jeffrey.
That was beautiful. That was fantastic. Standing over, guys, oh my God, that part needs to be clipped. That part needs to be shared. Holy fuck, that was amazing. Thank you, Jeffrey. That was amazing. Loved it.
Okay, Sketch gets to try to follow that.
Yes, I was just going to say there's also elements of the woke right that is, of those SPCL funded, kind of like infiltrators into the right. Some of them like to point out, well, they're not having an election. Well, Iran isn't having an election either. And guess why? Right? They like to point out a lot of strawman arguments. Like they talk about, well, the funding didn't go where it was supposed to go. They stole the money. And you could just point out at the results. Like their weapons industry has gone into an international level. They're having deals with Japan. They're having deals all over the Indo-Pacific. The money did go into the war, and that has borne fruit through this massive drone weapons industry. Like to try to say that all this money is stolen. Look, hey, I'm not saying maybe a suitcase got lost or something, right? But if we're going to be realistic about outcomes, if we're going to be realistic about the things that are happening, of course they're not having an election right now. And what do you mean the money didn't go anywhere? They just stole it. Look at their weapons industry. That's where the money is. You could just see it right there, right? So how are you going to say that there is an incredible evil thing in what Ukraine is doing when Ukraine is just trying to help the people being oppressed by Iran, help the people that China is trying to overtake and oppress? Trying to help people that are being that have been under siege by these dictatorial regimes, like the CCP, like Putin's KGB cartel in Russia. Like these are obvious things that are ignored by the politicization and weaponization of narratives by infiltrators into the conservative side, and just flat out, lies and propaganda from the more leftist side.
All right. And last response by Armin, and then we do the rest of the super chats, I guess.
No, it's just a super chat. Yeah, I'm just gonna go to the rest of them. Oh no, just one more thing. By the way, guys, we're not anti-Russian people, okay? We're anti-Putin. So if I say I want the best for the Ukrainian people, I also want the best for the Russian people. I don't think Putin, us being against Putin has nothing to do with us being against Russian people. We're not against Russian people. Okay. Okay, there we go. All right, so Noah, yeah, the Persian American Noah here just gave us a super chat saying the left forgets that this isn't a pro MAGA channel. There are those who are pro and against President Trump on here, but we are all united for Iran. Perfectly said, Noah. Perfectly stated. Yes, there are people here who do not support President Trump, and honestly we are open to having people here who even against the Iranian people, like pro, like especially this open section is supposed to be a place where even, I don't know, Basiji pro IRGC people could come here and we could like debate them if they want. Like this is I mean, we haven't had them yet, but at some point we might. So yeah, and thank you, Noah, for reminding people of that. Ida. Oh, Ida, look at this. People are in the discussion here. Like, this is Ida. First Noah, now Ida is saying, yes, it's all very confusing. Let's hope and pray for the best outcome for the Iranian people and the whole world. Thank you, Ida. Thank you so much. Beautiful message, and thank you for your support. Sarah, thank you so much again for your support. Saying the USA military ops switched from a sprint to a marathon, but we're still running. Wow, that's a great line. You know what? I'm going to steal that from you. The USA military ops switched from a sprint to a marathon, but we're still running. We lost momentum, but there is still forward motion. Hang in there. That's a pretty good explanation of what's happening. Thank you, Sarah. And then two more. Roman Viking is saying it's ironic to complain about Ukrainian national identity while Putin uses Russian nationalism to justify a military genocide and submission. Yep, exactly. Perfectly stated. Roman Viking. And then we have last super chat saying Slava Ukrainia. Yes, fantastic. Yay, guys. Everybody bring out your Ukrainian flags. I'm sure you all have one. Is it just me? Slava Ukrainia. I should have one behind me. There we go. Thank you, Fleshy Interloper. That was perfect time. All right, what's the next topic?
Okay, and are we doing mostly Iran-related ones first?
What do you suggest? You're modding.
I think we can just go in order. There are only a couple that are not about.
All right, let's go in order then, because I think we already.
Then Thomas first about Tommy Robinson's post.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm. Can you specify? Tom? Is there a Tom?
Tom, are you here? Oh, maybe
Okay,
he left thinking. Oh, maybe okay. Maybe I should message him because maybe he left thinking that we're not going to do his topic.
That's. Okay. Okay. He says he says he'll be back later. Okay. Daniel.
Okay.
About IRGC.
What was it again?
So
rat race in the IRGC.
Okay. Let's go.
So a couple of days ago, we had that rumor about the elimination of Vahidi. So didn't actually had a clear, how we say it, like confirmation, but it looks like the IRGC have inside the structure a rat race where low ranks will do everything so that the higher ranks will get boomed somehow, and so that they will have their places instead. And I don't know, that's just the feeling I had, but I really
the
wanted
feeling
to,
is that the feeling is what, that every time somebody is eliminated, what?
Yeah, so my feeling is that every time when a high rank IRGC is getting eliminated, it has to do with a lower ranks that just giving the information to Mossad, to whatever, and like the job is getting easier for Israel and the USA.
You know, you're not wrong. It doesn't. It could be. So actually, you're not wrong. Okay. There are Mossad has so many people within the Islamic Republic, within IRGC, at the highest places. And the Islamic Republic knows this, and they're terrified about this. And this is actually very interesting because so many times when the Americans are talking to the Islamic Republic, the Americans find out that the Israelis already know what the discussion was about because they were listening in, and like they were sometimes Americans are actually negotiating with Mossad without knowing they're negotiating with Mossad and then they figure that out later. That's how crazy the level of infiltration is within the Islamic Republic by Mossad, right? So, like Larijani, for example, was killed by the Israelis, and the Islamic Republic. Many people within the Islamic Republic are still shocked because he did so much to hide where he was hiding, and the Islamic Republic still can't figure it out how they managed to find his position, right? And they don't trust anybody right now. We don't know for close to certain close to certainty that there are Mossad agents within the Beit Rahbari, like within the Supreme Leadership's office, within the highest places within IRGC, and that's why the people within the IRGC they always assume that some of the people they're talking to are with Mossad, right? They're always assuming that, and they're not wrong. So it could be, but it doesn't have to be like lower ranking IRGC leaders. Or sometimes it's them. Sometimes it's actually higher ranking IRGC commanders that are Mossad, like somebody above you, not somebody below you. But it's also your driver, your barber. A lot of times it's your security guard. There's a lot of times it's just the person that is like mopping the floor, but they're all over. They're all over. And the Islamic Republic knows this, and they can't do anything about it. They have done a very good job in hiding that information. So that is the case. It is, it is very uh, difficult for the Islamic Republic to manage anything, given that their assumption is that everything is being heard and communicated. This is why sometimes they rely on people. This is why somebody like Taib is so important, okay? Because within the regime, many of the highest officials are only relying on their childhood friends or people who they served in the battlefield with. Like basically, oh, he saved my life, I saved his life. People who they served in war with, they're going with like deep brotherly love or whatever, like people that they absolutely 100% trust because of years of bond they had with each other, right? And they're trusting nobody else, and they're communicating only face to face or on paper. They're going through so many bizarre ways of trying to organize all of this because they know everything is being listened to and everything is being communicated to the Israelis. So you're not wrong.
And sorry, a little more thing. Is Wahidi actually confirmed, or we still don't know?
No. I mean, like we kept on telling us on our show, like this is not confirmed. So many people came out to our chat like, "Oh my God, Vahid is there!" Like, has not been confirmed. It's not been confirmed. It's a lot of content creators like to jump on these, stories, because if you're the first to say something that people want to hear, you get a lot of views. So there are many content creators that just basically lean into stories like that. But no, there has been no confirmation. I'm not saying he's not dead. We don't know, but we shouldn't believe that he's dead because there has been zero confirmation from any credible sources of this matter. Yeah, and
Okay,
by the way,
Jose,
one thing we need to keep in mind is that our favorite content creators are not considered credible sources, right? So, like me, anybody, like this is like we're not, we're just we're commentators. This is not because you do not consider any of your favorite content creators, even if you love them and even if you trust them, those are not credible sources of news.
yeah, Jose, go ahead.
Okay, I just wanted to say that, Daniel, I know what you're feeling. I see 5 or 6 X tweets a day from people saying that he's dead, unconfirmed at the very bottom. It could very be easy for someone to take one of those tweets and not see the bottom, just read the headline and start up. Okay. I do know that I stopped looking at the creators because people that have been only on Twitch for that account in the last week don't have any credibility on me. And anybody can get verified. You just pay a price to get verified. And by the way, one of those sources was the Israeli army. Guess what? The account was created in India. How good of a chance was it to the Israeli army? You know what I mean? And yeah, they've posted almost daily that that gentleman has been killed, unconfirmed, killed, unconfirmed, killed, unconfirmed. So, the sources, yeah, I'll wait till there's a morning on the national TV that he was killed.
All right. I think that's it for the news on this topic. Let's move on to the next one. Jeffrey has a general situation report about Iran.
Ooh, okay. Thank you.
I can do that, or I could do the track 2 material support. I'll do the general sit rep if you like. So
you decide.
Okay. So general sit rep of what happened up until 2 o'clock, where Jose was gracious enough to let me know what was said on Truth Social. So as you know, the CENTCOM launched additional self-defense strikes against multiple targets of the regime remnants. They are precision strikes ordered by President Trump in response to Iran's continued aggression. We targeted a lot of C4ISR, air defense, radar, all throughout Qesem Island, a couple of port cities. The idea is to blind. It was very much a comprehensive seed, mission. Actually, Ali did a good job outlining the targets last night. CENTCOM statements. So the Strait of Hormuz remains open for transit. President Trump's statements. He sat there and said, we're going to hit them very hard. Then, of course, you have the statements. I'm saying up until 2 o'clock. So IDF, no major new direct Israeli strikes, at least as when I did the assessment that underwrote the sit rep in the past 24 hours. Whether or not that's still true from, say, 2 o'clock today till now, that's a different story. I'll leave that up to Guy, who's far more personally insightful on that. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's recent stance, very much the same, and said that the war with Iran and Hezbollah is not ending. He's not wrong. Israel's focus remains operations against Hezbollah in southern Lebanon for good reason. Regime remnants and IRGC actions and statements in the past 24 hours continued claims of the Strait of Hormuz is closed and the Iranian forces have hit U.S. targets. Those have been directly refuted by CENTCOM. The remnants appear to be maintaining the bullshit narrative control while they're also begging Trump to not finish him off. Hezbollah, at least when I did the assessment, no significant new actions or statements tied directly to the Strait of Hormuz in the past 24 hours. Their activity remains focused on Lebanon and with ongoing low-level clashes and ceasefires posturing against our Israeli allies. As per Kat's open source intelligence assessment, thank you very much, Kat, the commercial shipping the past 24 hours, despite Iranian claims of closure, commercial ships are actively transiting the strait now. U.S. continues to disable vessels who will violate the blockade. No major new reported attacks on commercial vessels in the last day, at least when I did the assessment. Relatively quiet on the water compared to the rhetoric. Commercial aircraft, there's no reported incidents of shoot downs or major disruptions involving commercial aircraft in the Strait of Persian Gulf in the last 24 hours up to when I did this assessment. So, what's the overall? He did President Trump's threat. He called it off. Deal announced, and it's very much, atypical of Trump's kind of strategy. part and parcel of that is also to try and maintain, he's leveraging his version almost assuredly of President Nixon's quote unquote crazy president strategy. It means to keep your adversaries guessing by making it hard for them to guess what you're going to do because there is no pattern, right? And that's very much adopted in no insignificant manner because of the fact that the United States operates as a representative republic and we have inherent disadvantages when it comes to strategic deception and denial. Immediately following with CENTCOM's real-time debunking of Iranian closure claims, you have, basically what you have is you have a lot of bullshit from the IRGC and it's being picked up and amplified by their buddies here in the left-wing media. As far as the ceasefire is concerned, the Iranians are like, oh, there's a ceasefire. Please, Donald, don't kill them. So they're trying to say that there's still a ceasefire, but the April ceasefire that was already broken weeks ago, Armin and everybody else is like the ceasefire that never ceasefired, right? Sketch is not wrong when he says things like the IRGC can't have a deal, or maybe if they do, hopefully, the only deal I would actually accept at this point or would make strategic sense would be the IRGC remnants just leave Iran. They have two choices: take your shit and go, or be obliterated one way or another. As far as like the decisions behind that, the stated, if you look at what Trump said, he said, based on the fact that discussions with the Islamic Republic of Iran, I'm going to say the regime remnants, have been brought to the highest level of regime leadership and approved. He added that the final points of the deal had to be approved in both concept and great detail, and that includes all parties. So you have U.S., Israel, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, Turkey. It goes down the list of all these people. He also stated that the naval blockade of Iranian ports remains in full force. He said the time and place of the signing will be announced shortly. I don't know if it has. Somebody can find out. That'd be great. And additional strikes, we struck them on the 9th and 10th, and that those pressure and the ability to start that up is still there. So that's kind of where things are at. Can I just mention something? Because I know people were talking about this. I know this is the previous topic. No, I won't do that. Regardless of what happens at the national level, this outlines again why Track 2 material support efforts are so important and why Armin, other people's efforts in support of those efforts are crucial, including all of you here. Right? One way or another, you don't have to worry, Armin, about, I can say with a very high degree of human certainty, there's the highest degree of probability that you don't have to worry about MAGA ever forgetting that Iranian people are not the mullah regime. I know a lot of the movers and shakers in that movement, and they absolutely love you.
All right. Armin has a response.
I have an update, and thank you, by the way, Jeffrey. I appreciate that. Texas Troop gave us an update saying Trump says Iran deal could be signed in Europe this weekend despite Tehran denial. And then he also is saying the U.S. president says Vice President J.D. Vance will attend a signing ceremony expected in Europe. But Fars News, which is IRGC media, cited a source close to Tehran's negotiating team saying no initial MOU text has been approved. So this is an MOU, like memorandum of understanding, not the deal. But President Trump says this weekend, Europe, J.D. Vance will sign. Are there any other twos? Because I have two super chats.
No, you can go into the super chats.
All right, two super chats. Yael from Jerusalem. I think I pronounced your name wrong. But thank you for the super chat. Saying, Shalom, can you give your opinion as to why the Islamic Republic opened the internet? I understand the use of a VPN or more than one VPN. I do not trust the regime. Yeah, so just to be clear, the internet is not open, fully open, because everything is still blocked and people have to use VPNs. but at least there is an internet to use a VPN on. And my assessment is that there are multiple reasons. One of them is that the IRGC is not a monolith. There are many different segments within IRGC, and there are segments of IRGC that profit financially more from an internet being shut, but there are many parts of IRGC that own many companies. So IRGC comes and takes all the companies that are successful and basically brings it under its umbrella. And just there are many different elements of IRGC that owns a lot of Iranian companies. Many of them are internet based, and they were making a lot of money on the internet, and now they're losing a lot of money. So the financial cost to those segments of IRGC was so high for the internet to be shut down for that long. So that's one reason. There are many parts of IRGC that benefit from the internet being shut down financially because they sell the VPNs, and they sell the VPNs when the internet is on, and they sell the white SIM cards when the internet is off. So they were making a lot of money from that. But I think like there are more money to be made from the companies that are online than selling VPNs or the white SIM cards. So that if one of them is financially motivated. The other one is that they were trying to suggest that things are going back to normal, as a way to say that to basically say nothing to see here, we're back to normal. The situation is not as tense to before. Another reason is because, in my opinion, and this is my theory, I've not seen anyone else say this, is that I think that they wanted to make Pezeshkian give that order and then bring the internet back on as a strategy to act like Pezeshkian has more authority than he actually has, and then he would get the blame for turning on the internet by the people who wanted the internet to be by the pro-regime Iranians who want the internet to be shut down for security reasons. He would get all of the blame, but also this is a longer term plan to make Pezeshkian seem like he has power, so that if the Islamic Republic needs to be more flexible to the Americans and accept some of the terms of the agreement by President Trump, they could pretend that it was Pezeshkian and or Ghalibaf, and it had nothing to do with the supreme leader, and he had made a decision. So these are I mean, I remember some other reasons, but these are the ones that come to my mind right now. But I think the financial motivation was the main one. And then let's go to the last super chat. And thank you guys for all the super chats. Oh, and we also reached our goal. Thank you guys. Mark is saying, thank you, Mark, for this support. Saying Trump's not going to come out and admit that they're being armed. It would be stupidity to admit that. It would put Iranians in danger. Exactly. That's why I say I don't know. That's why I say I don't know. But because we don't know, it's good to keep demonstrating that if it is known, the Iranian people wanted that, hence the Arm Us campaign. And it's good to push for that. It's good to demonstrate that there is a demand for that from inside Iran, whether it's happening or not. But yes, that's why I don't claim that. That's why I don't say when Marco Rubio said that, I didn't go to with the assumption that confirms that this is not happening 100%. And thank you for the support. All right, so what's the next topic?
Right, so as you're reading the super chat, two people decided to put twos about Jeffrey's sitrep. So do you think we should go back to them, or
can we do it really? Can we do them really fast, like 60 seconds
you get
each?
Let's say 15 seconds each. Ida first.
Ida.
Hey, sorry, I was actually referring to the updates. I don't know. Follow-up question. If we read the tweet from Muhammad Marandi, was it before the last statement of when he says, "I'm not even bothering to comment on Trump's delusions. We're ready for war." Was it before or after the latest? Because I'm. And who is he?
What are you referring to?
The tweet from Muhammad Marandi. Armin, do you know who he is?
Yeah, of
Makandi?
course. But
We know.
I know we know who he is, but we don't understand the question. Like, what is the question?
So the post that he posted that says, "I'm not even bothering to comment
Oh.
on Trump's delusions.
Oh, yes,
we
yes, I
we
saw
are
that.
ready for war."
Yes.
So
yes.
is that after or before the latest Trump's statement?
Before, but Merendi is not a decision maker within the Islamic Republic.
Okay.
So he's
Okay.
yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah. Yeah, no worries. So Merendi is just a propaganda. Like, he just sees what happens. His job is to just observe what's happening and then defend the Islamic Republic on the in English speaking media. He's not part of the decision making process. Yeah. But it was, to answer your question, it was after the latest post on Truth Social, but before this latest update regarding Europe. Yes. Okay.
MK, go ahead.
Okay, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Just to add to Jeffrey's sit rep, because it came in at 14:07, I believe, Eastern time, that the State Department released that the United States and Starlink announced cooperation on critical disaster response. So the United States government and Starlink have signed an MOU, a memorandum of understanding. They cite that it's to enhance international disaster preparedness and U.S. humanitarian response efforts worldwide. So if you go to the State Department's website, it's under public releases. But I just wanted to share that with all of you. Read into that what you will. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, MK, you have a lot of great contributions to this group, so I'm going to bump you up from premium to VIP, free of charge. Okay, so yeah, we take more of.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Armin. I appreciate that. That's very kind.
No, thank you.
And
thank you.
Guy? Guy, go ahead. I can't hear you. All right. You have 6 seconds to fix the sound, otherwise I'm gonna go to Pedro.
Can you hear?
Yes.
So a couple of quick updates. Actually, before I do that, everyone, just so you know, on Monday, 4 p.m. Israel time, which would be 4 p.m. Israel time, which would be, I think, 9 a.m. Eastern time, and then do whatever your conversion you want for that. I'm going to be hosting a segment on liberty politics, like this one. Can ask me about Israel, about geopolitics, even about philosophy to the extent that it relates to what we do here. So just so you know, I should probably plug that. 2 updates. One with regards to what Ida was saying. I believe it was Ida about Marandi. It's not relevant because the regime media has put out a statement saying that according to them, the U.S. has backed off its new conditions and is now willing to sign a deal, the deal that they offered before, and they say that the likelihood that it's going to be signed is high. The other update is Netanyahu just spoke with Trump and said that Israel is he commended Trump on reaching the MOU. Israel is not part of it, and that Trump has basically stated that he hopes to get a final deal that will include the uranium, the ballistic missiles, and the proxies, all 3. That's according to Netanyahu's statement. Just as a quick opinion, I don't see Trump agreeing to the regime's position. So either they're lying, most likely to save face, or Trump is playing them, because the leverage has only increased. Like, Trump has more leverage now than he did back then. There's no reason for him to back out just before making a strike. And if Netanyahu is saying the truth about the proxies and ballistic missiles, that would be all but a surrender deal. They're not formally giving up their power, but they're practically giving up their power because their own supporters are not going to keep following them if they do this.
Okay, and Armin, last
Yeah.
response.
So yes, and in addition to that, guys, even if the worst case scenario happens, which I'm not saying it would, Israel is not part of this deal, right? And whatever United States and the Islamic Republic agree to, Israel has complete freedom to go and just do whatever they want to the Islamic Republic, and they're not going to give up. And United States, can basically allow Israel to do whatever it wants, and that doesn't tie their hand, and the deal does not tie their hand in any way, right? Also, guys, I just also want to mention that to go to this segment that guy has started, this is really good. This is a more Israeli friendly time as well for all the Israelis here who think like a lot of the segments are go on too late, and they want to go sleep. So we're adding more hours that is going to be focused on Israel, and it's also at a better time for Israelis. So just make sure you look at the calendar and see when Guy is going to have his segment on our, one of among our group calls. So we have me, we have Ali, and now we have Guy. So me and Ali, we are more informed about Iran. Guy was more informed about Israel, and hopefully soon, I'm not going to mention who, but somebody's going to have a segment that is going to be focusing on United States and maybe Latin America. And then eventually, I would like to add more segments with people who are more knowledgeable about UK, and then eventually China. And then we keep going and add, keep more. And people will come to our discussion group, and they look at the segments, and they see like, oh, these people are mostly talking about China. These people are mostly talking about the UK. This is more about US politics, and they could pick and choose which ones they want to attend. So thank you, guys. This is amazing that you're adding that. Yeah.
And also, I also have a YouTube channel independently of that that I don't have open right now, but I'll quickly try to get it so we can put it in the chat. That will deal with Israel, both in live streams with Armin, but also independent segments where I explain things about Israel.
Yeah, I'll put the link in the YouTube live chat as well.
It's too late. I put it in the chat. Okay.
No,
let's
no,
go to
it's not too
Pedro.
late. It's not too late because I'm putting it in the YouTube
already
chat.
too
There you go.
Okay. Someone quickly, please copy paste it from the school chat to the
Too
YouTube
late.
chat.
Too late. Too
All
late.
right.
I did it already. Okay, there you go.
All right. So next is Pedro on Hog Island strategy.
Ooh, okay.
So what I wanna tell you, Armin, is that I know Trump did say that he wants to take Hog Island, but due to today stating that the bombings are now suspended because a deal is getting closer than ever, we might never know when will Hog Island invasion will come up. But in case Hog Island they take in case the occupation of Cork Island happens, I think one of the key reasons why it is so important is because aside for having 90% of Iran's oil, it also serves as a strategic point to invade other Iranian islands and maybe Bandar Abbas as a main theater of operation to arm the Iranian people. Do you think that's a good strategy, or what is your opinion, Armin or Jeffrey,
I mean,
about that?
honestly, that would be the strategy I go with. I don't know if Harg Island would be the best place for that. I think Bandar Abbas would be the best place to liberate and start as a base of operations to arm the Iranian people and then take over the rest of Iran. Harg Island is an island, so I don't know if that would be the best place to. I don't know. Maybe it would have a strategic advantage for being an island as well. Actually, Harg Island is actually a good place now that I think about it to start as a base of operations, because the Islamic Republic would be more hesitant to shoot at it, given that their most important oil infrastructure is there. So maybe the infrastructure will provide some form of a protection. Someone's mic is open, by the way. And so yeah, maybe actually you're right. That's actually a good point. Maybe an island also provides protection to the people who are training there. The fact that it's surrounded by water, maybe it's easier to protect, given that you could be surrounded with naval assets. I'll let the sketch and maybe Jeffrey say if that's a better idea. However, but Pedro, please also keep in mind that Hark Island is so vulnerable that President Trump might have just mentioned it as a reminder to the Islamic Republic how vulnerable the Islamic Republic is. Maybe they're talking about the MOU, and the Islamic Republic was being annoying, and Trump was like, okay, how about I take over Hark Island? And they were like, okay. So maybe that was he just mentioned that as a way to basically put more pressure on the Islamic Republic regarding the MOU. That might have been the only reason why he mentioned it. We don't know. We don't even know what we don't know. Okay. There are unknown unknowns here. Anyways, we went all full Romsel here. I see some twos in the chat.
And
Yes.
I'm sorry
Oh,
for
go ahead.
that.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
So Jeffrey, what is your opinion on that strategy, on Cork Island strategy, the same one we talked with Armin? Jeffrey.
Jeffrey's not here. There are other people who put two in the
Okay.
chat. If Jeffrey comes
Yeah,
and
let's
puts a
go.
two in the chat, he will respond.
Jose?
Or
So Pedro, let people put two in the chat, so we'll see the people who want to talk and respond to it. They will respond. So let's go to them.
okay.
The only reason I would see to take Carg Island, you're right, Armin, it's well too exposed, but it's to finish off choking off the RGC from any revenue source whatsoever. Because there are apparently a few ships that have escaped with Iranian oil or in the Iranian shadow fleet that have been caught out at sea. So that would just be the only strategy I see is worthwhile. As far as using it, like we were thinking of using the other island to train resistance, they're too wide open. There isn't enough coverage on that island. Not really. That's just a thought on my point,
Okay. Sketch.
Yes, the second you take any point in Iran, that point is going to become a target. That's the problem with taking any point. One of the reasons you would defend Karg Island is because you suspect the regime is about to have, okay, this is kind of like, kind of a cliche thing, but that guy that's kind of a psycho and the girlfriend leaves him and says, if I can't have her, no one can, and tries to kill the girlfriend. So the IRGC is kind of like that. Like they might attack some of their most important facilities, one of them being Karg Islands. That's why, like, if you're in the final stages, you might want to defend that area if you're about to go in and hunt these people. But taking it just to hold it on a long term, I would see it as very, very difficult. There's an airbase there, but it's just being there. I would rather have ships around the defendant than just put myself on the ground there, because everything in there is very explosive, right? So if you launch a barrage of drones, just like try to saturation attack, it would be kind of easy to take it out. So taking that island is very difficult. I understand the threat of it, but I holding it would be incredibly difficult unless you have already done what Jeffrey likes to call that 5x5. You've put down 39,000 targets and you've taken out, then you can maybe talk about holding land like that. But it's a very difficult land to hold, number one, because of the explosive nature of everything that is there, the value of everything that is there, and just basically that you're just making yourself a giant target. The second you announce yourself, I'm staying here, you're a target.
All right. Ian is next.
I think Sketch mostly covered what I was going to say. The only thing I would add is that you might do it if you're trying to prevent eco-terrorism. I guess if they're gonna continue with that bent, then you might want Karg Island. Otherwise, I'd be very surprised if he would pre-announce and then take Karg Island, as in having troops on the actual island because they're just sitting ducks there. So it doesn't seem like what's going to happen to me.
And lastly, Shauna.
I just wanted to the biggest thing. I mean, this is just kind of reiterating what Armin already said, but we actually don't fully know what Trump wants with all of these negotiations, because if you like, I have not read his book, but from what I've seen from people who have read his book, they're constantly kind of pointing out like the way he negotiates is the way he negotiated in real estate, which is that he wanted one thing and then he kind of throws random stuff out there and he just never admits what he actually wants. We have no idea what his end goal is. We're kind of guessing. I just wanted to point that out. Like that's one of the ways in which he came up in real estate and was successful was by doing that. So in the interview that I watched, they gave like the sidewalk analogy, like you want the city to build the sidewalk for you to save some money, and then you negotiate around that, and you don't ever admit what you actually want. So, so I don't know. We know that he wants.
We do know.
Other than no nukes, but he could have other assessing goals. The only thing that we do know that he wants is no nukes, because nobody in their right mind wants no nukes, and I think Trump is an unusual human being, but I don't think he's suicidal. So I think nobody that values life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness wants Iran to have nukes. So, but other than that, he might have other goals. I do believe what other commentators that I've been watching say, which is that his main focus is China, and Iran is a big bolster to China. And so I still think the end goal is probably China, and Iran is one massive puzzle piece in isolating China, because they, according to the interview I watched, they declared that they wanted to go to war with America in 2027. So that so that's one possibility. I do think China is still the main focus, even though it doesn't really feel or look like it right now.
All right, thank you, Shana. Let's go to super chats.
Okay. Before I read the super chats, I just want to encourage especially Israelis and anybody who's interested in Israel, to again check the calendar for Guy's segment. I would like to, if people from Israel here could confirm, some of them, that they're going to check it out, that would be nice, because we want to make that segment, we want to keep promoting that segment, and also tell other people to join that segment as well. Yeah, if you know anybody in Israel that time works for them, please, even if they're not in this group or in the on our YouTube channel, please go around and tell people that this is going to be a great discussion group regarding Israeli politics, and invite them there. All right, so thank you guys, thank you. All right, 2 super chats. Yael from Jerusalem saying, where is Pezeshkian after his resignation request? Any update? I mean, he's still doing his thing. He's still where he always is, in his office, being a fake president of the Islamic Republic. He's constantly now getting attacked as proof that he's not a Zionist spy because of this resignation. There's so many people cursing him in the streets among the pro-regime supporters, saying that his resignation is proof that he's trying to use his resignation as a way to force the supreme leader to bend to to his way. Like he's trying to force the supreme leader to submit to the Americans using the resignation as a threat, which I don't know why that would work as a threat, but that's what they're saying. And I also saw a speech by somebody to the pro-regime people, like, don't, like, they tell you that nobody can force the supreme leader to do anything. That's false. The president can force the supreme leader to act against his will. And he gave the story of Imam Ali, the first Imam of Shia Muslims, that he was very successful in war against the Khawarij and Muawiyah, but then his own so-called supporters forced them into a peace deal, which is actually the story of Imam Ali. They forced him into a peace deal with Muawiyah, even though he was very successful at the battlefield. And they're saying this is happening right now again. Mujtaba, our supreme leader, Mujtaba Khamenei, has been very good at leading this battle against the Americans and Israelis. But now, in the same way that happened to Imam Ali, they're now trying to force him to submit into an unfavorable peace deal. So they're already, it seems like the people within the Islamic Republic are preparing for an MOU or a deal by blaming it all on Pezeshkian and using this resignation as proof that he's trying to force the hands of the supreme leader. And I don't think, and his resignation hasn't been approved, by the way. I don't think the resignation has even been responded to. Like, I don't think, I think they're just pretending like it didn't happen. And thank you for the question. That was an important update. And we have Amir with another super chat saying the only super chat I left in Bigger News channel, Agenda Free TV, was to never trust Marandi. He's a lying puppet for the IGC for years. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. We call him Marandi Charandi. Charandi means nonsense. Okay, thank you, Amir. Thank you for the super chat. All right, that's the super chat. What's the next topic?
Okay, Samantha is next on South Africa's genocide claim.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
The one against South Africa, or the one that South Africa put out against Israel? Okay, I think it's.
I should specify. It's the one against South Africa.
Wait, is it? Oh, okay. So they claim that they're doing genocide of white people.
I mean, I would be asking questions about the one again that they're making against Israel, because obviously I know the answer.
So let's just
genocide.
Let's go ahead. This is confusing. So how about you just introduce your topic? Go ahead.
Yeah, the genocide claim against South Africa.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm trying to figure out if there actually is a genocide happening again, like in South Africa. So please correct me if I'm wrong about anything, but my current understanding is that the people accusing South Africa of committing genocide are specifically accusing South Africa of committing genocide against the Afrikaners, who are descendants of Dutch settlers. And out of approximately the 65.4 million people in South Africa, 4.5 million are white and 2.7 million are Afrikaners. And Afrikaners are the descendants of Dutch settlers. And most people who are claiming that there is no genocide in South Africa are basically saying that since Trump is racist, he doesn't want non-white refugees or immigrants. So they're saying that Trump is lying about the genocide or a genocide happening so that he can basically take the predominantly white Christian Afrikaners to fill all the refugee quotas. Please correct me again if I'm wrong, but on October 30th, 2025, Trump and the Trump administration announced a refugee cap for 2026 at 7,500, which is the lowest in U.S. history. This is half the previous record low of 15K, which was set by the Trump's first term. And from 1980 to 2025, U.S. has averaged a cap of over 92,000. And Biden set the cap in 2025 to 125,000. Also, Executive Order 14
Okay,
204
Samantha,
explicitly.
Samantha, this is
Yeah.
this has the claim about the genocide in South Africa is independent from America. Like this has been there without America being involved way before Trump.
Was anyone previously before Trump made the claim?
Yes. Yes.
Who? Wait, really?
Yeah, for years
Who?
this has been a case. Who? Many people. This has always been
Who's
a
been
case.
making,
I mean,
who's
like
been making this
like
claim before Trump? What?
everybody, like, oh my,
I have never
yes.
heard anyone make this claim
Oh my God.
before Trump.
Okay, just Samantha, just because you didn't, I mean, I remember this on the news all over the place before Trump was even president. So just because you haven't heard about it, it doesn't mean it didn't happen. This was the case all the time. This has been, I mean, this has been on the news for
Can you like
years.
name one person who's claimed this before Trump? Because I have never heard this before.
There's multiple
Lauren
reports
Southern.
on- There's multiple reports.
Who
That's
is
not a good
that?
example. No, forget Samantha. There's many reports on this. This was on the news. Do you want me to go find the name of the journalist that I've heard about? Like I don't know that. Like I saw it in the news. I
Yeah,
didn't
I
remember.
kind of never heard this before.
Samantha, stop interrupting me. I'm explaining something to you. Okay, I saw this on the news. I remember seeing this on the news, and I don't remember the name of the person that was giving this on the news. Like that, like you asking me for the name of the person that I heard this from. That's a ridiculous ask. But so just this has like this is not everything is about United States. Okay, this has been the case. This has been something that the white people in South Africa have been fighting against before it was at all independently from United States. Not everything is about Trump. Not everything is about United States. Okay, there's that. Also, even if they're focusing on just the descendant of Dutch settlers, that is genocide because it's based on blood. Like, oh, it's not against all white people. It's about these specific white people based on them being descendants of some other people. That would be genocide because it's based on, you're basically targeting a group of people based on ancestry. So that would still be genocide. If even that was the case. But there's a lot of evidence. I mean, these people don't even hide it. Like the people, like, am I frozen? Hold on. Yeah, no. These people don't even hide it. And there has been, guys, like, I could go get all the information for you. If anybody else wants to talk about what's happening here, let me know. But yeah, so here, let me see what I have. Okay, so we have years of brutal farm attacks. So rural white farmers are frequent victims of home invasions that involve extreme gratuitous. Is that pronounced right? Torture. The severity of the
Gratuitous.
violence, gratuitous. The severity of the violence, burning, severe beating, leads many to argue the motive is deep-seated racial hatred rather than just robbery. So they don't do this to other communities. Like it's not robbery. They go there and they, beyond just taking stuff and destroying stuff, they are extremely violent to them. They torture these people. That is, most experts say that this is only because like it's only explainable because of the deep hatred they have for these people, right? And again, as you admitted yourself, it's based on ancestry, not because of anything these people did themselves, right? And then we have the kill the boar. How do you pronounce it? Boar. Kill the boar. Boar. What is that?
Can you just pronounce it like the animal?
Kill the boar.
It's
That's
like
correct.
just like the boar, the animal. Okay. So what is this? Is it kill the boar? Chaz? Is boar referring to white people? Does anybody know? Like, is that referring to populist
Yeah,
politics?
boer is an Afrikaner word which means farmer, and it's reference to the Dutch white farmers.
Okay, there we go. So the leader of the EFF party, his name is Julius Malema, regularly sings Dubul Ibhuno, which basically means shoot the boar, at massive political rallies, referring to white people, right? The white farmers. Yeah.
Jeffrey put links to these videos in the chat. Okay, I have like 8 twos on this topic, but I really want to get to the next one. So I just want a quick response from Mano, who lived in South Africa, and then we'll move on. Mano, go ahead.
We got 8 twos in the chat. Let's see.
Mano? Yes, no? Mano was just speaking. I know your microphone works, but you're currently muted.
Mano?
Okay. I think he's having some sort of technical issues. His sound goes on and off. Okay, I will give you 15 seconds.
I'm back on now. Was my name called? Sorry.
Yes. Go ahead, respond.
Oh yeah, sure. Sorry, I had some technical issues. So I just wanted to share that I'm actually from a neighboring country to South Africa. I'm from Mozambique to be exact, and I'm speaking as a Trump supporter living in the U.S. Because I lived and worked in South Africa many years, and even to this day I have very close ties to several people in South Africa. So what's actually closer to the truth is that it's not genocide per se. But there have been isolated cases of white farmers that have been killed and attacked in South Africa. So obviously the way that it's been communicated in the media in the U.S. Doesn't 100% reflect the reality on the ground. That's what I can say. So but it is factual that Julius Malema, who is the leader of the EFF, that party was formed literally over a decade ago. He does normally chant, kill the Boer, and he has been, interrogated in court over that, and he claims that it's just a chant, but not an actual order. Yeah, so that's sort of closer to the truth. So actually, when there was a meeting between President Trump and Cyril Ramaphosa, who's the president of South Africa, quite a lot of people in South Africa were quite outraged by that press conference when there were the claims around the genocide. So in a nutshell, yeah, there have been isolated cases. There have been cases of quite high-profile white farmers that have been murdered, and that was due to grievances that the farmers had with the specific owners. But to my knowledge, there hasn't been an actual case of like mass genocides toward them.
Wait, wait, hold on.
So the truth is somewhere.
Hold on, just give me a second. Okay, so if they're attacking white people because they're white, because of their ethnicity, how's that, and wanting to eliminate them, that's the literal definition of genocide. Like, I mean, am I missing something here? You have the intent.
No, I get what you're saying, but okay, on one hand, there is a chant that goes on, but what I'm saying is that from the isolated cases,
there's not just the chant, there's also action, right? We have the chant, which shows the intention. We have the violence. We have the extreme torture, shows that it's based on hatred for the white people. It's with the intention of destroying them and killing them and wiping them out, which basically is the very definition of genocide. Remember, genocide is not based on. Remember, genocide is not defined based on how successful you are, and it's not based on numbers. It's based on the intent, right? Even if your intent for violence is to kill a group of people with the intention of wiping them out because of their ethnicity, even if you don't get the numbers, that is still defined as genocide. You could have a huge massacre of people that is not genocide, even if it's in large numbers, right? And you could have a small amount of killing of people with the intention of wiping them out because of their ethnicity or their belonging to another group, and that would be genocide. So by definition of genocide, this is genocide. Okay.
Okay. I would say that the truth is something closer to the middle.
I mean, being a genocide or not genocide is binary. Like, it's not a spectrum. Isn't it a binary thing? Like, the only way it could be in the middle is that we had a spectrum for genocide, but we don't have a spectrum for genocide. It's a binary. You either are or not.
I really wanted to get to the next topic, which is
no, I don't. No,
No, yeah, because
okay.
I personally
No.
didn't want to dwell on it too much, but I was just sharing my 2 cents on what I
No,
looked
that's
at.
okay. No, I appreciate. No, Mano, I really
Actually,
appreciate you
yeah,
sharing your
because
2 cents.
to be fair, like from
Can
my
I
experience and
No,
from even
great.
what's been broadcast internationally, I would say that the group that has been a larger target of even Black South Africans in South Africa has been like Black foreigners from different countries. So
Right.
I would say that is what's more prevalent than genocide.
Yeah, but that doesn't negate. But that's a
time-
different topic. That's a different topic, and it's kind of like whataboutism, right? It doesn't negate that this is genocide, right?
Well, okay, I don't want to dwell too much on this topic. I'd rather focus on the main cause.
Okay. So thank you for that, man. Thank you for your contribution. I do. So I know, Danny, you want to go to the next topic. You guys could continue the next topic after I leave. I really do want to. 1 second. Hold on. We will get back to you, Samantha. But I do want to hear some other opinions. I do want to see what Jeffrey has to say on this, because I do want to have that recorded. And then after that, you guys could continue having this conversation and the other topics. We'll get back to you, Samantha, I promise. Jeffrey, can you quickly add to this? I should have already left.
So, very much anti-white violence systemic throughout South Africa. You named some of them. The EFF, I actually post some of those videos there. A lot of them are descendants of pro-Soviet trained terrorists, as was Mandela, by the way. The ANC, Umkhonto we says we, I'm probably mispronouncing that, otherwise known as the Spear of the Nation, or the kinetic arm of the ANC, that was involved in things like Operation Mayibuye, which was mass terrorist attacks all throughout the African continent, focusing heavily on South Africa, and did things like the Church Street bombings, and actually went after the Zulu and all this other stuff. That's on the ANC's website. So yeah, very much anti-white genocide going on inside South Africa. Now he's right. Mano is right that there is a like illegal immigrant element going on there recently. That's like the March to March. That's going to be coming up in a couple of weeks in a Pacific city in South Africa. That's probably going to be spurring a lot of violence. Just because you have additional seasoning added onto the steak doesn't mean that the steak doesn't exist. Just because I put like salt and pepper, read, I don't like illegal immigration in South Africa, onto the steak, read, systemic violence against white people, particularly Boers, doesn't exist. That very much exists.
Yeah, I'm not negating that.
Hold on, excuse me, thanks. And so, like, not for nothing, amplified by any number of members of the autocratic bloc, both Putin's criminalized counterintelligence state and the Wagner group that's operating in there, kicking up destabilization so they can rob things like diamonds and raw resources. And the Chinese Communist Party, that's not a direct kinetic like participant. They're more like enabling elements to sit there and get the same access to the same resources.
All right, thank you, Jim.
Yeah.
Samantha. No, Samantha, and then Mano, we could say you guys could talk about this forever after I leave. But Samantha, because you get your point in, and then keep it very short, please.
If
I'm already
South Africa's committing a genocide, then so is Israel. That is what I'm gonna have to say, because there are people in the Israeli government who do make similarly equal, like, homicidal comments about Palestinians, and there are settlers who are actively committing and have actually killed Palestinians in the West Bank because they were Palestinian. So if South Africa's committing a genocide, then so is Israel.
Samantha, you're going to have to save it for a guy's show.
No. That's nonsense, because it's Israel as a country does not target Arabs. Israel as a country actually provides Arabs with the best opportunities compared to any other Arab or Muslim country. Okay, I don't know what you're talking about. This is what we're seeing in South Africa is genocide at a systemic level. I'm pretty sure there are some people in Israel that might have racist views, but it's not the policy of Israel. It's not the policy of Israel. In fact, Israel is completely against it. When it comes to any threats that comes from Judea, Samaria, and Gaza, it has nothing to do with those people being Arabs. It has everything to do with that being a source of threat to Israeli civilians. That's the issue. It's not because it's not anti-Arab. Israel has 20% Arabs, and they have not only equal rights to the Jewish citizens, they have more rights than Jewish citizens. And you could see them. We have Arab judges in the highest courts in the land. We have some of the best jobs goes to Arabs in the universities. They're represented more than their share of the population. This is the best place to be an Arab and the best place to be a Muslim in the Middle East, and even if you include North Africa, is Israel. So to accuse Israel of genocide or apartheid or ethnic cleansing is ridiculous. That is not at all what's happening. We have politicians in South Africa singing about killing white people. Like that is not at all that is not at all that's a false analogy. That is insane.
Unacceptable, yeah.
So we can discuss this more, I think, on my stream on Monday. This can be a good topic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have something to say, but I don't want to keep you.
You guys could talk about that. You continue talking about that after I go. I just need to thank Boer van Dijveld saying, no, yeah, he's correcting me, saying, we'll tell you all about South Africa. You should be in our group. I'm saying it's Boer, not Boer, for fuck's sakes. I mean, I don't know why are you getting angry with me? I don't know how to pronounce these things. I thought this so Boer is a white farmer in Africa. Yeah, okay, thank you. Boa is Boa. Okay, I don't know. Sketch with the super chat saying 995 attacks is not isolated cases. Exactly. Good example. Sketch, keep talking about this maybe after I leave. Anyways, so guys, let me just go get ready for my next show. And let me heart Sketch's super chat so he doesn't feel left out. Thank you, Sketch. Stop recording, and you guys continue the conversation. Guys, if you want to continue this topic right now, people on YouTube, this discussion right now is open. It's basically open, free for all. You could jump in there and see what the rest of this conversation is going to look like. For me, I'll see you guys same time tomorrow. And until then, I'm Israel Chai, Slava Ukraine, long live America, Javicha, Payande, Iran. See you guys same time tomorrow. Bye.